Hi, this is Will. I'm going to review the Weatherby First Lite 300 Win mag that I purchased. Kind of Christmas came early for me, and my wife decided I should get a new rifle. So here it is, and I'm going to kind of do a review on it. And later in the video, I'm going to go over the different ammos I shot. I shot a bunch of different ammo because usually you're going to have to try to find out which ammo works best in your firearm. Each one works a little different. And I'll go over that later and show you the targets that I represent how well it shot. I'm going to say this thing shot fantastic. I'm also going to go over the Leupold VX Freedom Rifle Scope. It's a 6x18 power scope. Kind of go over that also. So let's start off first with the Leupold scope. It's a 6x18. It's their Freedom line. It's a new one. It's 6x18 power. It has the Windplex reticle in it, which means that it's kind of similar to mil dots. I prefer mil dots, but they didn't have it in this particular cheaper scope. I like the fact that it is Leupold. It's durable. However, the glass in it, I got to say the glass in Leupold has really gone down. If you buy any of their scopes in the Freedom line, I think the glass that they're putting in it is really the same glass they're putting in their Walmart brand $200 specials, and they're just adding things like the side focus on it and the for parallax, and they're just basically adding that in the custom dial. And I'm not impressed too much with the custom dial thing. I tried to order it online, had problems getting the custom dial for your ammo, and I'll explain that to you real quick. But basically, 4 weeks goes by, I call them, they say, okay, we'll take your order. They took my order, called back. They said, oh, we didn't put it in right because you didn't give us the coefficient of your ammo that you were shooting. I said, well, I didn't know I needed that. It says, yes, you do. It's online. It's okay. Well, I called it in. Long story short, I'm waiting again still for the custom dial reticle. And I haven't got it yet. What this does is, supposedly when you get this dial, they'll customize it to your ammo so that when you're shooting elevation, you can turn it to start at 100 yards where you zero it, you go to 200, you turn to 2, 3, so on and so forth, out to the designated range. And it's supposed to get you on target without having to do the dope on your scope and put it on a piece of paper. We'll see how that works. Overall, I do love Leupold. As you can see, I painted it to match the First Lite paint on here. It's not the best job, but I did this with spray paint. I tried to get the brown to match, and that's just me. I'm crazy that way. I like to have my stuff matched. Like in the military, we camouflage everything with spray paint. I had a few things to it. One was this quick dial on it. It's a lever that you add to it. Helps you to go from 3 power if you're hunting close in, or to go to the 6 power to 18 power quickly just by throw a lever on it. I do like that. It's like $20 to add to it. I used the Leupold backcountry rings, and they're also one-piece backcountry base. I love a solid one-piece base. I also DevCon this to the receiver. If you've seen my other rifle video, every rifle I do, just like what we did in the military, use DevCon. Basically epoxying it to the receiver, and then I Loctite the screws with blue Loctite. The reason for epoxying it like that is it's more durable. If I don't put it in a horse saddle or a side saddle gun or whatever, but it just makes it more durable if you're banging around on the side of your pack or whatever. It's just much more durable, and it works for me. I added a US Optics anti-cant device. So you see these are very convenient. It goes on a rail system. You can unscrew this here, it protects it, and it's anti-flare, anti-reflective. You can basically have your bubble so that you don't get cant in it. And the reason that's important is, any scope, anytime you cant that reticle, your bullets are going to be thrown to the side of where your cant is. In other words, your reticle's not coming across horizontally. If you're off, your bullets are going to throw to that side. And of course, the higher your scope is mounted from your base on your weapon, the more chance that you're going to have that be an issue. With this here, it can screw onto the other side, and it's out of your way, and it doesn't interfere with any of the ejection or loading of this weapon. I use this one. You can use the cheap $35 one. I have them on my other weapons, or you just stick this in your pocket, and this basically just folds away, gets out of your way, and while you're hunting, you just pop it out and leave it out. Overall, I love the durability of Leupold. Like I said before, the glass is just not that great. Out at the range, low light levels are not very good in it. I have a $99 NASCHA Shooter Sports, a Nikon Buckmaster, and it's much clearer for that $99 scope in the range in the afternoon than this $500 Leupold scope. I was really disappointed in their glass quality. A couple of my friends got Vortex that were $250, $300 scopes, and they're much clearer than this. So I don't know if Leupold is just giving too many scopes away to these professional hunter guys on YouTube, and then they're charging us more for our products. They're products that are basically mid-range products, and they're charging you more money for it. To me, it's like a $300 scope you're paying $500, $600 for. I'll leave it at that. Durable, though, yes. We'll see how the custom dial works, but I do have Leupold products. I have several of their high-end scopes. I love them. I can't say anything bad about those. I have a pair of their binos, rangefinders, blah, blah, blah. But for what you're paying for scopes nowadays, it seems like they're spending too much time giving stuff away to people and hunting themselves with their people that work for them. Getting onto the rifle, and I'm moving along because I am old and I have a tendency to get on tangents. I like the barrel is fluted. It's cert-coated, so you don't have to worry about rain. Comes with a muzzle brake, which I love this muzzle brake. You can take it off and they give you a cap, so if you're hunting and you're one of those guys that doesn't want to use the muzzle brake, it's too loud for you or whatever, you can take it off and screw this back on the threads. You've got a basic regular barrel. This reduced the recoil down to, I kid you not, less than a 30-06. I can shoot it basically without having to hold the front of the weapon. Like most of my 300 mags, I've got to hold the front a little bit because it'll jump off the table. With that on there, it's just smooth. It has a long barrel. It is not floated, so you have some contact point at the front. But with longer barrels, from what I've learned in the past, is that some contact is good for it. So that contact doesn't make a difference. I shot, even at my old age, with having a little pre-glaucoma, I was shooting some sublimate groups with some of the ammo, and I'll show you here in a little bit. But this gun literally shot every ammo down to the cheapest $20 box of ammo out of it. It shot an 1.5-inch group. And so it shot everything good. I've had guns that literally shoot a 4 or 5-inch group with some ammos and then shoot a sub-MOA group with the right ammo for that particular barrel. So you really have to try all the different ammos to see which one works. I love the paint job on it. Like I said, I did the scope to match. The bolt is also fluted. It's also cert-coated. It's pretty much waterproof. One of the cons, I guess I would say, to this weapon that some people complain about, or I haven't heard them personally complain about, some of the guys don't like it, is the floor plate magazine. The reason being they're afraid that if you bump this with your hand, it'll come open and you'll lose your ammo out in the field. Well, these have been around for years, and a lot of the old hunters, they never had a problem with it. I know a guy that used to take a little cap off of a little tube of whatever, glue or whatever, put it over that mechanism, and then take a piece of black electrical tape over it to keep your hand from hitting it if you're holding the weapon like this. But they've recessed it so well on this particular, on the Weatherby, that your chance of hitting it when you hold it are so slim, you don't have to worry about that. I really love this rifle. I love the Monte Carlo stock. I did mount the scope higher. It's 2 1/4 inches from the bore to my reticle point, and that is a little high. Most people like them tight, and the only problem you really have when you mount them higher is cant, and so that's why I always have an anti-cant device in all my weapons. One, due to age. Two is it's easier for me. I keep both eyes open until I'm ready to squeeze down on the trigger, and I just can look at my anti-cant device, make sure my low bubble's straight, and squeeze off the shot. So the height doesn't matter. And the only time the height real high might matter is if you're shooting over 1,000 yards, and then you might run out of elevation on your scope. But this is a hunting rifle. I'm not going to shoot over 500 yards. Ethically, to me, I can shoot out to 1,000, being I've been in military sniper school, and I'm really good at shooting. At least I was back in my 20s. But I'm not going to shoot over 500 yards, being ethical hunter. I probably won't even shoot over 400 at an animal because I don't want to wound him and have him die out there and waste. So let's get on with this because I have a tendency to rattle on. I mounted a 12.5 by 26-inch bipod. It's a Blackhawk. I go with the cheaper one. Harris is a great bipod. I have them on a lot of my weapons, but I went with this one because it was only like 55 bucks. I try to keep some of the costs down. I spray painted again like I always do, my crazy spray paint. And the reason I like this is you can do two things with this. Normally, people like to use a 6x9. I like the 12.5 by 27 or a 13 by 27 because you can sit behind it. So if you're up on a mountain ridge or whatever, you need to sit behind your weapon instead of lay behind it in the prone. You can do that. If you're gonna, most times, if you're gonna shoot, I'm gonna drop my pack and I'm gonna shoot off my pack. And if I can't shoot off my pack, say it's further uphill or whatever, I can actually lay my chest on my pack, drop this down, and still make a shot with the bipod at 12.5 inches. It works really good for me. I like the longer bipod for that particular, for out hunting in the West with the steep mountains. Everywhere else I use a 6x9, a shorter bipod. Anyway, that's just my personal preference. You know, it's up to you. Now looking at the targets here and the ammo. These are all the ammos that I shot. And these are the targets. What this is the range I go to won't let you go down and pull your targets. So basically what I did was they let you look at the spotter scope. They give you these pieces of the target, and you can draw them into where the ammo, where your shot group is. And as you can see, all the ammo shot really well. This is the cheapest ammo I shot. It's the non-typical Federal. And first shots out of the box were, I would say, about an inch group. And then I shot the Remington. They were shooting about an inch, inch and a half. And these are all combined rounds basically in that 2-inch circles. They're all pretty much with in a 2-inch group, shooting the cheapest $20 box or $25 box, 180 grain, 300 Win Mag ammo. Next I went with the Federal with a Barnes TSX. This ammo shoots fantastic, and I shot 2 sub-OAM MOA groups after I got it zeroed in, and all the rounds were pretty much in a 1-inch group. Really like that. That was one of the better shooting ones. Second, I shot the Vortex ammo here, and I believe this is I'm sorry, I'm not prepared on that, 180 grain also. And as you can see, I pulled a few. These 2 over here I pulled, but most of them were in an inch and a quarter group. Some pulled into 1 3/4 because of here. The next one I shot is the Barnes Long Range. This was really consistent ammo, very accurate also out of this gun. My first rounds were high, and then of course I pulled one. That's me. And then once I got it dialed in, and then I got tired because I did these on separate days. I didn't do them all on the same day, and I pulled a couple rounds. But all in all, these long range rounds, they're a 190 grain bullet, excellent shot extremely well. And how can you go wrong? Look at the presentation box, right? How can anyone with such a nice box be a bad shot? Great ammo. Next one shot really well. For some reason, shot low in my weapon was I guess because it's a 200 grain bullet. It's Precision Hunter 200 grain 300 Win Mag. As you can see, it shot a 1-inch group all the way down the board, and I somehow I was walking them low, and they were shooting low. I walked them up a little bit, but I tried to shoot a minimum of 9 rounds or 10 rounds. That's all I shot. Once I got it, I could see the shotgun, I stopped. The one I'm choosing to shoot, it shot the best, most consistent sub-MOA groups was the Hornady Outfitter 180 grain. That's what I'm going to be shooting in my weapon most of the time. It was consistent sub-MOA groups. I shot that, and I actually shot another target with sub-MOA groups. I pulled 2 rounds. Otherwise, they were all right on. So basically, with this weapon, you can pretty much put anything in it, and that's unusual. I've shot a lot of weapons in my 59 years, and cheap Remington rifles to some top quality sniper rifles in the military, and you have to find out which ammo works good in your rifle, 90% of the time. This Weatherby, anything I put in it, a quality ammo shot great. Even the cheapest, this is like $21 a box at Academy Sports. It's a non-typical, I don't know if I'd use it for hunting or not, but it shot decent groups. I shot 1.5 inches, 1 1/4. This shot 1.5 inches, 2 inches, depending on my shooting abilities. But this rifle, I got to say, I give it 5 stars. It's just a great rifle. I can't wait to actually take it out and actually hunt with it. More than satisfied. I could literally go anywhere, use any of these ammos, and still be able to hit a mule deer or an elk with it at out to 500, 400 yards. Great ammo, great rifle. And basically that's my review on it. I hope that helps y'all. I didn't see any reviews on this, so once my wife let me get it, I decided I'd go ahead and do a quick review on it and give you guys my opinion on it. And if anyone's interested, I gotta say I like Weatherby. Thank you.